Fianna Fáil and Gael told you that they'd reduce student fees, but they increased them instead. They told you that they'd introduce €200 a month childcare, but they didn't even try. They scrapped energy credits for those most in need and sat back while gas and electricity prices continue to rise. They promised to introduce the Occupied Territories Bill, and they haven't. They promised to tackle the housing crisis, and they haven't. They told you that they built 40,000 homes in 2024, and they didn't. They voted against a motion to help women and girls with endometriosis, and Simon Harris went to an Oasis concert after the tragic passing of 9-year-old Harvey Morrison Sherratt. They tried to charge pensioners and people with dementia for blister packs, making it unaffordable for the most vulnerable people in society, all whilst giving tax breaks to multi-million euro fast food companies. They've stopped giving housing targets because they know they won't reach them, and they've introduced measures that will drive the price of rent even higher. Their policies have resulted in the worst, most catastrophic homelessness crisis in the history of the state. Nearly 17,000 people are without a home, and more than 220 classrooms full of children are included. Disabled children and their families are struggling to find school places, and the government have chosen to break the law rather than provide children who need them with assessments of need. Remember when they promised to scrap the means test for carers? Well, they've decided that it's more important to give pay rises to CEOs instead. St Vincent de Paul has recorded record-breaking demand, with requests for food and child poverty making up the bulk of it. Meanwhile, former Fine Gael Minister for Finance Paschal Donohoe decided to give €141 million of taxpayer money to the World Bank just months before he took a job with them for an eye-watering salary of €600,000 a year. A woman died in a tent on the street last week in freezing conditions. A week before, a man died waiting on an ambulance that never came. But don't worry, because Micheál Martin thinks it's all grand. But there is some good news. The government parties are at the lowest combined level of support in history, where once they had more than 85% of the vote, now they barely have 30%. It is possible to get them out, as long as we don't forget the fact that